Wonder Hussy here. I'm still in Death Valley, and now it's July, and it's really hot. Yesterday was 110, and I think today's supposed to be 117. Yep, that weirdly, unseasonably mild weather we've been having is long gone. I knew it wouldn't last forever, and it didn't. So I basically have to stay indoors all day, and it's like being in a prison cell. I feel like a vampire. And I probably look like a vampire, because my tan is fading fast. And I know, burning a candle makes it even hotter, but golly, I gotta burn a scented candle to freshen the air in here somehow. I mean, I put these blackout curtains up to try and keep the blasting morning sun out of here, because this poor little window air conditioning unit I have is really struggling. Because sadly, this little casita that I'm living in isn't very well insulated. I mean, these walls are wafer thin, and I did what I could to weather strip the door. I went around the whole frame with that foam weather stripping, and oh gosh, you can still see daylight coming through. I did what I could. I mean, I even, down here, there was like a little tiny corner. I stuck a piece of foam in there. I put this sweep on. I even caulked all the windows completely shut. So there's no air getting in. There's no air getting out. That's why I need that candle. But I guess on the plus side, that means there ain't no scorpions getting in here. Okay, I know I'm being melodramatic in comparing this to a prison cell. If you've ever been to prison, you know that this is one of the cushiest prison cells there ever was. I mean, I have all the books I want, I have access to the internet, I got a guitar, I can make music, and at 180 square feet, it's pretty roomy for a prison cell. Okay, I'll give you a quick tour so you can see what my entire world is confined to these days. Okay, it's really not that bad. Here we have my bedroom, and yes, I know my bed is probably way too big for this tiny house, but I didn't feel like buying a new one. Over here next to the bedroom, we have my dressing room. This is where all the magic happens. All my makeup that's rapidly melting in the Death Valley heat. Then over here we have my hallway. This is where my vampire stuff is going on, and where I put up my little altar. In here, obviously, is my office, where I do all my editing and YouTubing, and, well, it also kind of doubles as my closet, since space is at a premium in this little casita. And then finally, we also have a bathroom, which is just big enough for everything I need. And yes, I know it's weird that I'm making coffee in the bathroom, but that's how they do it in motels. And I don't have a kitchen in here, so I have no choice. Anyway, you might notice that there are mismatched linoleum patterns in here. Well, that's because we ran out of those tiles, and I guess couldn't find more of them, so my sister bought these. Because remember, my sister was living in this casita before me. Anyway, she bought this other pattern, and thought, well, what do I care? You know, it's close enough, and I kind of like the funky patchwork mismatched look, so much so that I even continued the theme over here. I mean, you can see the original linoleum in here. Well, maybe you can't because I have it all covered up with rugs, but it's real nasty, and it's real, the floor is... Well, maybe you can hear this. Squeaking. The floor is real wonky. I think it's just sheets of plywood with this linoleum stuck over it, and it was pretty rough, like we just saw down here. Anyway, rather than redo the whole floor, which is what it really needs, I just kind of took the worst parts and pried off the old linoleum and put on all kinds of different patterns. 'Cause why not? Who says your floor has to be all one pattern? Not in my world, it doesn't. But I don't know. I feel like it's actually pretty cozy in here. And more to the point, it's very well sealed up against any kind of critters. I mean, I went around everywhere, even under here. Oh, you can see the ugly truth hiding down there. I had to squeeze that great stuff down there to keep any kind of bugs from crawling up. I got a little thingy in the drain to keep scorpions from coming up the drain. I don't use the shower in here. I don't even know if it works. There's no shower head on it. I gotta figure that out. But I put a thing over the drain in here, so at least I know I won't be joined in my lonely little prison cell by any scorpions. Okay, even though I'm staying indoors all day, I might as well get dressed just in case the Amazon delivery guy happens to come by. Well, at least I can still work from home. Whew. Man, it's 4 o'clock and it is too hot to stay in the casita anymore. Let's see. What does it say? 88 degrees! Oh my god, and this despite the fact that this poor little air conditioner is cranked to 75. That's the best it can do with this unrelenting sun blasting on the casita. And yes, I'm well aware that the clean filter light is on. It comes on every 160 hours or something. And I clean it when I can, but you have to turn the air conditioner off to take the filter out. And if I turn this thing off, I'll melt. I'm gonna try to do it in a few days. It's supposed to be about 10 degrees cooler. You know, first thing in the morning when it's only in the 80s, I can turn it off long enough to take the filter out, clean it, and put it back in. I'd like to turn this down lower to like, 68, but I'm afraid I'll burn the motor out because it's already working so hard. And if this thing conks out on me, I'm dead. I mean, basically, I'm dead. Now, I'd like to get a mini split put in here like we have in the main house because they're more energy efficient and I feel like more reliable. But unfortunately, the electrical has to be upgraded first. Oh God. I'll try to do it in the fall. But for now, I'm just gonna go over into the main house and take advantage of the mini split. Oh my God, it's gonna be so hot and so bright out here. Oh, I feel like a cockroach exposed to the light. Oh, gotta run to the air-conditioned main house before we die of heat stroke. Actually, real quick, before we go in and before my camera starts overheating, you can see why it's so hot in that casita. I mean, it's not so bad in the morning because the sun comes up this way and the house and that nice shade covering that Randy and Kelton built for us, well, that all creates shade for the casita in the morning. And actually, now too, it's in the shade. And then as the sun goes, well, the sun travels that way through the sky. Then it hits, this is our laundry room, and so that blocks that side of the casita. So it's really not until about, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon when the sun goes right over there and blasts against the back wall of the casita. I mean, you can see that it's in the full blasting, baking, broiling sun, soaking up all that heat. Oh, no wonder it's like an oven in there. Anyway, you can see that these shade structures really are helping immensely. Both my sisters and my forerunners are in the shade, which helps quite a bit. And then you can see this south side of the house, the wall is totally in the shade from that covering. And so that's helping keep the walls from heating up. And so it should be relatively cool inside the house. Let's find out. Whew, it is considerably cooler in here, but it's not really that much more pleasant because all the windows are blacked out in here too. I mean, that's pretty much all you can do this time of year in Death Valley is hunker down like a crackhead with stuff covering all your windows. Actually, there's one other thing you can do, and that's make another margarita. Why not? Cheers to another day in paradise. Okay, let's check the thermometer. Survey says 120 degrees. Oh. As much as it feels like 120 degrees, I don't think that's accurate. I don't remember where my sister hung the sensor for that thing, but gosh, I don't know. It must be in the sun or something. But we have our own weather station. You might be able to see there on the corner. My sister set up a weather station so we could accurately monitor the temperature and the wind. Because remember, it gets real windy out here. Let's see what our weather station says it is. Okay, weather station says 115. And that sounds about right because I think the forecast today was for 117 and it's only 4:30. So that means we still have another hour to go before it finally starts to quote unquote cool down. Anyway, I'm just going to sit right here at the kitchen table and finish my editing in here within reach of the blessed mini split, which I should note, I also have set to 75. Let's see what it says it is in here. Forgot to look at that. 84? Golly, that's a disappointment considering we spent $10,000 on this mini split and then all that time, money, and energy putting up those shade structures. You think it'd be more than 9 degrees cooler than what I set the thermostat at? No one ever said living in Death Valley would be easy or smart. Anyway, back to work. Oh my God. How can something so beautiful be so unrelentingly miserable? It's almost 8 o'clock in the evening and it's still 109 degrees. I gotta do something about this. I feel like it's turning me into a wonder wussy. And I'm tired of being a wonder wussy. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, well then you're probably not subscribed to my newsletter, in which case, why aren't you? Just go over to my website, wonderhussy.com, and sign up. Website's not redesigned yet, it doesn't look very good, but I have this newsletter, I made a video for it, in which I invented this character, Wonder Wussy. Wonder Wussy is too afraid to go solo adventuring. Wonder Wussy just wants to stay home. Until one day, Wonder Wussy finds a bag of magic beans that changes her life forever. Anyway, I decided rather than wait around all summer for these Bilstein shocks that my mechanic ordered, I'd just go ahead and have my dang icons rebuilt again. And I know that was the whole reason I went through this rigmarole in the first place. I don't want to get these shocks rebuilt every 30,000 miles. But I also don't want to stay in Death Valley all summer, so I'm shelling out $700 to get my old shocks rebuilt. I'll still get the Bilsteins put on when they get here. Or more realistically, I'll probably ride these icons until they give out, and then I'll have my mechanic put the Bilsteins on, because he already ordered them, he already paid for them. I'm not going to leave him hanging. I just felt like, yeah, $700 is a lot of money, but it's worth it for mental health, right? Anyway, that's what I'm driving to Vegas for right now. Okay, I'm here at this shop where this guy said he would rebuild my shocks for me in one day. He supposedly says it'll only take a few hours. Custom Motorsports. Hey, my shocks, my leaky shocks.
How are you doing?
We're good, and who are you?
Mason, I'm with Shocks MD out here in Las Vegas.
Shocks MD, so all you do is rebuild shocks?
Yes.
And what brands?
I work with Icon, King, Fox, and Dobson. Basically, if it's rebuildable, I can basically do it if I can get the parts.
Okay, well I'm curious just to see what you're doing.
Yeah, so these are your shim stacks
Uh-huh.
and your piston, so I'm taking them off to clean it. So this is one of the most important parts, is just make sure everything comes out the same way.
It's just a bunch of washers, oh my gosh.
Yep, it's very, very, very thin washers. So here's your piston,
Oh, look at that.
and here's another set of shims. So those first set I took off, that's your rebound, and now these are the compression.
So you're laying everything out in order so you remember what order to put it back on?
Yep. You have seals all here.
Oh, okay.
So this seal right here goes bad because if any debris gets on the shaft,
Uh-huh.
it basically cuts
Okay, and
it.
so that's why I was told if I keep them clean, that would help, but you're saying that it really doesn't make much difference?
It does to a certain extent. Now, if you got mud, sand, and like that, it's good to clean the sand off, because if the sand gets stuck on it,
Right.
the sand goes in here.
So it's still good practice to rinse out your wheel wells
Yes.
after operating, okay.
Yes. And you have another seal right in here. down in there. That's your main seal on the cylinder.
Okay.
So this right here, basically we're gonna take all the seals off and put all brand new seals.
Oh, far
and put it
out.
all back together. We
And the way you found out about me needing help is your Facebook group, Vegas Toyota Off-Road?
Yes. So I have a Facebook group out here called Vegas Toyota Off-Road. We also have an Instagram. One of the guy that runs my Instagram told us about it. We were like, can we reach out to you guys?
What's his name?
His name is Adrian.
Thank you, Adrian, for hooking me up with Mason. I can't thank you enough. I'm finally gonna get out of this blasted desert. I know I complain about my Icon shocks a lot, but Mason was telling me any shocks are gonna leak if you do as much off-roading as I do, right?
Yes, it doesn't matter the amount of off-roading.
Yeah, so all these people going, oh, you gotta get Bilsteins. They're still gonna leak.
They all get worn eventually. You know, the beauty of the Icon and King and Fox shocks is the fact that if they start leaking, you can
rebuild them.
These are great. They're great shocks. I run an Icon myself. I love them. They're great. You know,
Okay, you heard it here first. I mean, this guy knows what he's talking about.
The owner of our shop standing behind us, he
Oh,
runs
hi. Oh,
Kings.
you own this shop.
Hey,
What's your name?
Cameron.
Cameron, thank
Yeah.
you for allowing me
Yeah,
to
of
invade your
course.
space.
No, you're not
And
a
you also enjoy your Icon shocks?
I have King shocks.
Oh, King.
actually,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. Icon's good too. We do a lot of Icon. A lot of
How do you
King.
feel about Bilsteins?
They're not a horrible shock. I'm not talking down, but they're not like rebuildable like
Right,
an
okay.
Icon or a
Alright,
King.
okay.
Serviceable.
Okay.
But they're great for what they are. No, I mean,
Okay.
we do Bilsteins too.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
not to knock on Bilsteins.
Okay, yeah, no,
That's
that
just great to be able to rebuild your shock.
It is, and it's really interesting for me being able to see it being done because
Yeah.
usually they just whisk it away in the back and it's like Willy Wonka. You don't know what's
Yeah,
going
it's
on.
cool. You can change your compression, your rebound, and just service the shock itself.
Yeah. That's what you guys are here for.
Yeah.
Well, that and many other things, right? Like
Yeah.
if I want to get rock sliders or a skid plate or anything like that, I can come to your shop and you
we
guys
have
do
a
that.
full CNC table where you do CNC work. And all.
CNC, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good to know. Okay. Yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, it was worse than I thought. It wasn't just a matter of leaking seals. Like one of the bolts had snapped. And one of the, oh gosh, I don't know the name for the part at the top of the shock was bent. I mean, these shocks are on their last leg. So this rebuild ought to get me, buy me at least, I don't know, a few more months time. And then, yeah, I'm gonna need to have those Bilsteins put on. Hey guys, thank you so much, Mason. Thank you for rebuilding my shocks.
No
They were
problem.
thrashed. I know I'm a terrible driver. I appreciate it.
No problem.
James, thank you for spending 4 hours talking to me.
You got it.
He's an amazing conversationalist. Thank you. I'll be back for future work. 100% for sure. Can't recommend your shop enough.
Awesome.
Wow. Oh man, it feels weird after all that time of being held up by my shocks. I'm not held back anymore. I could go wherever I want to. Ah! Actually, I know where I have to go. I gotta deliver this mannequin to my friend Scott. My boozer friend Scott, who lives here in Vegas. Well, his mom was a showgirl back in the 1950s and 1960s here in Las Vegas. Beautiful, statuesque blonde showgirl. And I think it's her 84th birthday on Monday. And so he's having a big party for her. He asked if he could borrow one of my mannequins and a showgirl costume for the mannequin. So I have all that here. I need to go deliver that to Scott.
Jesus, does she have a stand and everything?
Yeah.
Am I gonna be in another one of your videos?
Yeah, what you made me drive all the way here to bring you this dang mannequin.
I need some company.
Okay, had to make a last minute pit stop in Pahrump because my friend Ross, the one-legged miner, tipped me off to a claw-footed bathtub somebody was selling in Pahrump. The guy who sold it to me was kind enough to help me load it into the back of my car. Don't ask me how I'm gonna get it out when I get home. Where there's a will, there's a way, and I definitely want this bathtub. Even though my sister and I don't technically have a hot spring on our property, our well water basically has the same mineral content as the local hot springs, so all we have to do is get a black hose and heat the water with the sun, and it'll be just as good. Wow, I finally have my own claw-footed bathtub. How about that? Actually, I'm surprised I was able to unload it by myself because this thing is pure cast iron. It's heavy. But guess what? I did it because Wonder Hussy is back. No more Wonder Wussy. Now that I got my shocks rebuilt, I can go anywhere. Actually, no I can't. Cause believe it or not, leaky shocks weren't the only thing wrong with my rig. It's also making some kind of squeaky, creaky, kind of chirping sound from the engine, and it started a few months ago. I took it into my mechanic a few months ago, and I think he said it was the tensioner pulley bearing. Does that sound right? Oh gosh. I don't know. He cleaned it and it quit squeaking temporarily, but it started again, and I think it might need to be replaced. Unfortunately, my mechanic doesn't have time to see me until Friday. Today's only Monday. That means I have one more week to spend in Death Valley. What will I ever do to amuse myself? Okay, since I'm stuck here for 4th of July anyway, figured I might as well go check out the town of Pahrumps 4th of July party. This is a pretty patriotic place. I have a feeling it'll be interesting. By the way, you like my outfit? Okay, the Pahrump 4th of July Redneck Pool and Barbecue turned out to be exactly as advertised. Apparently they've been doing this event at a local bar for a few years, where people make what they call redneck swimming pools in the back of their pickup trucks. And this year, there were some pretty amazing entries. But my favorite was this guy who put a Maverick on a truck chassis and tows around a truck bed with his pool in it. How about that? Anyway, aside from the trucks, they also had bull riding, barbecue, and a best mullet contest, which unfortunately I didn't get any footage of. But I did meet some really cool people. I'm line, I gotta see who I want to
You're my favorite person ever!
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're my all-time favorite person!
You can be in the video.
Oh my god, I cannot believe it! I watch every single one of your videos.
Woo! Okay, hang on. This is a whole family that lives in an RV. Okay, wait, you guys all live in an RV?
Yes, yes.
And you're the mom, and
I'm
you got
mom.
two daughters.
Yes.
And you're the dad.
I'm Paul.
And you guys all fit in. How big is the RV?
35 foot.
Do you guys have a YouTube channel?
No.
Or do you want to start one?
I've thought about
I
it.
feel like it'd be pretty
I really
interesting.
thought about it.
Because you have a very attractive family. You know, I mean, you're not bad looking either, but you know.
I do all right.
Yeah, we've been
I mean, apparently you're doing just fine. Wow, it's really nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too.
Then I met another gal who had the same hat on as me, and come to find out, she's actually a well driller. Kylie, how did you get into drilling wells?
This guy heard me sassing off to someone in the VFW.
You were sassing off to somebody at the VFW? Why were you hanging out at the VFW?
I'm a veteran.
Oh, you're a veteran? What branch of the service were you in?
I was in the Navy for
So
4
you were in the Navy, you're hanging out at the VFW drinking, you sassing off.
Yeah, well, I mean, the old guys like to pick on me, and I was like,
Why would anybody pick on you?
because I'm 5'4" and I'm mad.
Look, she's cute as a button. Show us how cute you are.
Oh, I wish you were still doing the conga song.
No, that's a cute girl. So anyway, you were sassing off to somebody.
And one of my veteran friends there, he said, you know, I have the perfect industry for you. You'd be great in the mining industry. And he actually got me into core drilling, which is part of the mining.
You were drilling, core drilling?
Core drilling out in Arizona and then into Beatty, which didn't last long because I got fired.
Why did you get fired, Kylie?
Because when you work hard, you play harder. Yeehaw!
Anyway, it was an interesting afternoon, but honestly, I would have rather been out in the middle of nowhere in a hot spring. So after a few hours, I drove out to the desert on the edge of town to watch the fireworks by myself, in peace and quiet. And if all goes well, I will be back out in the middle of nowhere again in just a few days. And that's when I'll celebrate my Independence Day.